Well, how's it going, Forum? It's certainly great to have your company once again. Here's a video I made just recently, interviewing the main person behind the People Speak Radio. They've had a long history of delivering the facts to people, and interviewing some of the best names. Well, here's my interview with them. Right here is Basima Farhart, the Palestinian host of the People Speak Radio, a well-known poet and peace activist in the Michigan area. She's played host to some of the biggest names on radio these days. Well, listen in as Steve Johnson says a little hello to his old friend, Vixee. Let me get this correct, if I may. You are indeed the author or the founder of the People Speak Radio. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mike is the producer, and he's actually the one that initially started another show, and one thing led to another, and he and I have been doing this show for 5 years now, although we've had some various people.
The People Speak Radio has had a huge amount of different guests on there. You've had Mike Farrell. You've had Cynthia McKinney. Can you just go through some of the names that you've had, some of the celebrities that you've had the opportunity talking to? Can you just go through some of the names of the people that you've had on your radio show? Because it really stuns me. It's like a celebrity A-list of people who are awake and aware of what's really happening in our world.
Some of the more prominent people, Ali Abu Na'ma, you know who Ali is, of course, Electronic Intifada. Actually, it was Ali's birthday a couple of days ago. Anne Rice of the Vampire Story fame, Willie Nelson, we have had Chevy Chase. Those are just some of the actors and actresses. Now, the majority of our work is based around activism. That has been our key goal. Adam Shapiro, you know Adam. We've had Huwaida Araf, his wife, on. Anna Baltzer, the Jewish activist, Kathy Wilkerson, Chris Tufalo, on and on, Dennis Kucinich, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, lots of people. We've had incredible people. And I don't know why we haven't had you on yet. You're an incredible talent.
Well, ma'am, of all the people you've had on there, you've certainly had a lot of very, very interesting cross-section of people, but it's not all about Palestine. It's mostly, what I find, it's all about human rights. It's all about the human being standing up for what is emphatically the human rights issue, and the human rights extends across all borders. Do you see that that's a common problem that is happening today? What is the main purpose of the People Speak Radio?
The original concept was to help inspire activism. We wanted people to see, originally we didn't have all the famous people on. We had ordinary people like you and me, that took it upon themselves to create something, a filter for human beings to be able to either see, witness, read, or hear over the radio waves that you can do this. Everybody can do this. That we are not powerless. That activism is no more than action in progress. And it didn't matter. We weren't concerned in the beginning what the activism was about. We just wanted a free-thinking activist in any area, whether it was in politics, whether it was in spiritual activism, artistic activism. Every single one of these areas, writing. We've had Ward Churchill on, William Ayres, William Oden, William Rodriguez, you know him. But I try to slip in as often as I can. The other day we had Helen Thomas on the show. I try to slip in as often as I can the Palestinian issue. Although, if we are really going to be true humanists, there is so much out there. I cannot just self-identify only and make this a Palestine only show, because I believe in a lot of things, and I believe in the goodness of some of the American people. Not all of the American people, surely, but some of the American people. So I can't turn my back on the needs of the community that I live in, because I don't believe that that's how you can solve things. I think you have to work within your communities to inspire people. So this is what the original concept of it has. Sometimes just based on, if we get a really great or big name, I have to tell you, we have fallen into the area where, if President Obama says he wants to come on the show, who are we to say no? we've got a big name. So that certainly helps our credibility when we acquire the guests that we really want. But for the most part, the majority of our guests have been awe-inspiring human beings that have taken it upon themselves to help within their community.
Well, ma'am, given that in today's world, the Palestinian issue is an emulation, it's a symbol of what's going on with human rights across the planet. And in fact, in most Western countries, we're now losing our rights faster than the Palestinians ever did. They lost it at a slower rate. But do you see that the struggle is much the same? The struggle for Palestinian rights is much the same as the struggle for human rights across the world. Yourself, being originally a Palestinian American, do you find that many people are now awakening to the basic human rights struggle is much the same, no matter what country or what flag you salute?
You know, there was a time when I didn't think it was, but you're absolutely right. When I was very young and in my youth, and I went out to change the world. I didn't know anything about Palestine. I was raised in this country, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, I hated the Arabs because they limited me. I wanted to be a man. If I was going to be anything in the Arab society, I wanted to be a man. So, and as a very aggressive woman coming from a very independent family, we were able to, you know, exert our aggressiveness, for the majority, in positive ways. Do I think all of the issues are the same? I think the struggle is the same struggle. I don't even differentiate the boundaries between the struggles. It is false for us to assume that the planet is not in a struggle right now. Our planet, our human race is in a struggle right now. We have to understand that we have to blend both worlds, both aspects of our reality in order to live harmoniously. And thus far, as long as there is suppression of children, suppression of women, suppression of peoples based on this, on superiority status, which is the chosen status, it's an elitist status, then there will never be harmony in the world. And as long as it exists any place, it will exist every place.
Well, for all the people that you've interviewed and all the people you've spoken to, do you find that there is an understanding that our governments have been taken over? I mean, a lot of people would say, well, that's just conspiracy theory and that's just nuts and that's this and that. But however, from the people you've spoken to, is there a general consensus that there is no longer for the people? Can you elaborate on that at all? Because I find it so obvious. And when I try and talk to people, it's like you're talking to brainwashed. People just don't get it. But those people who do get it, they're all of complete agreement that something is definitely afoot. Can you elaborate a little bit further without mentioning names?
I can mention each and every one of the names on my guest list almost literally each and every one, because that's a question that I ask them both privately and many times in the course of our interviews. Do you believe that this is by accident or is it by design? And overwhelmingly, the majority of my guests have stated that there is no accident about what is happening. This is all by design.
Well, ma'am, if you could say goodbye to all the Stop Funding Israel listeners, that'd be fantastic, because I know there'll be a lot of people who would like to stop funding the machines of death and the machines of war that have only one purpose, and that is funded by the American taxpayers. Do you not agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. If you're going to give your money, you've got to know where your money is going. And funding Israel, you are sending your dollars to kill children. I don't care what they tell you, that's who's dying. So God bless everybody, but stop funding Israel. It's a bad move. I love you, Steve. Keep up the good work. Congratulations. And to all the people that really care, stop being afraid of the word conspiracy. It's not that scary. There are some bad people out there, and we need to come to terms with that so that we can help them heal and we can help ourselves heal. Thank you, and inshallah one day I will reciprocate and have you on our show.
It's been fantastic. It's been wonderful. It has been awesome to have a person like you charge my audience. And you do that. You do that. You charge my audience. No, thank you, Miss Vixee. You take care. God bless, as always. And ciao for now. Well, how's it going, Forum? It's certainly great to have your company once again. Here's a video I made just recently, interviewing the main person behind the People Speak Radio. They've had a long history of delivering the facts to people and interviewing some of the best names. Well, here's my interview.
Show, and one thing led to another, and he and I have been doing this show for 5 years now, although we've had some various people.
The People Speak Radio has had a huge amount of different guests on there. You've had Mike Farrell. You've had Cynthia McKinney. Can you just go through some of them with them? Right here is Basima, the Palestinian host of the People Speak Radio, a well-known poet and peace activist in the Michigan area. He's played host to some of the biggest names on radio these days. Well, listen in as Steve Johnson says a little hello to his old friend, Vixee. Let me get this correct, if I may. You are indeed the author or the founder of the People Speak Radio. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mike is the producer, and he's actually the one that initially started another show